Important breaking news right there. The United States Senate voting on President Obama's jobs bill. The vote isn't over yet, but we've already counted 47 votes against ending a Republican filibuster. So there's no way the Democrats will get the 60 votes they need to move forward on that legislation. With us now to discuss that and more, Florida Congresswoman Borger Schultz. She's the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. She is in New Hampshire tonight, where there's a feisty Republican debate about to begin. Republican strategist Kevin Madden is with us here. He worked for Mitt Romney back in the 2008 campaign. Also here, our chief political analyst, Gloria Borger. Madam Chairwoman, I want to go to you first. Leader Reid would not bring the president's plan, as the president wrote it, up for an immediate vote. He wanted to change how it's paid for, so they came up with this millionaire surtax. Now he is losing. He will not have the votes to go forward. Isn't that an embarrassment for the Democratic Party that you can't get your own bill through the Democratic Senate, or at least get all the Democrats to vote for it? At least one has voted against it. And as we move on, are you now ready to say, let's sit down with the House Republicans, break it into pieces if necessary, but get something done?
Well, I think this is embarrassing and sad for the Republican Party, because they continue to focus on helping only the wealthiest, most fortunate Americans in corporate America. They've got a leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, who is singularly focused on only one job, Barack Obama's, which he said proudly at the outset of this Congress, and now won't even embrace a American Jobs Act proposed by President Obama that puts construction workers back to work building bridges and roads, keeps teachers and firefighters and police officers on the job, gives a payroll tax cut, of all things, to small business owners and the middle-class folks. Which part of this bill do the Republicans not embrace? They're shockingly out of touch, and I think they should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, let's ask Mr. Madden, the Republican in the room here. If you look at public opinion polling, there was another one in the Washington Post just this morning. The public sees overwhelmingly, and it means a lot of Republicans too, they are okay with raising taxes on Americans who make $250,000 or more. This Democratic proposal in the Senate would only go after millionaires. Why is it such a bad idea?
Well, look, I think when you ask the question whether or not we think we should be raising taxes in a slowed-down economy, the answer is not the same as you would if you're just talking about
millionaires. But those tax increases are kicked down in 2013 in this bill. They don't take effect right away. They're kicked down.
But that's particularly important to those Americans who, and not only those Americans who don't believe that we should be raising taxes in this particular economic climate, but also the President of the United States himself made that argument. So I think that's the argument that many of the people are looking at. And I think that's the reason that Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz and the President and Harry Reid, I think that's why they have a credibility problem right now with the American public.
I think everybody has a credibility problem with the American. I think Democrats and Republicans and probably the news media have a credibility problem with the American public right now, because 25 million Americans are either unemployed or underemployed, and Washington just keeps debating different proposals that have zero chance of passing. Gloria, after this, all right, we're making a political marker tonight.
Right.
After this, will they sit down and say,
yes,
what can we pass?
Yes, precisely because of the reason you just gave, which is that they see the polls too. They see a 14% approval rating for Congress. And so I think what you're going to see is a bunch of smaller measures like trade agreements, tax credits for hiring veterans, maybe some kind of a highway bill, increased access to capital for small business. So you're going to see components of this. What you're not going to see are the tax increases you were talking about, and maybe, or the extension of the payroll tax cut holiday, which a lot of people wanted extended.
And this will be debated, Congresswoman and Madam Chairwoman. You have dual titles. This will be debated in this Republican debate tonight, which is supposed to be largely about the economy. We'll see how it plays out. You're at the DNC. You guys have a very funny and sometimes effective public relations campaign and a website that says whichmitt.com, accusing Governor Romney of all these flip-flops. You don't do as much about Governor Perry. Is it safe to say that on this day, the Democratic National Committee, meaning the Obama White House, worries more about running against Governor Romney than it does about running against Governor Perry?
Well, nailing Mitt Romney down is like nailing down Jell-O, and I know Kevin probably shared that same frustration that Republican voters seem to be sharing right now, which is why he seems to be capped and topped out around 26% when he advised Mitt Romney 4 years ago. But you know, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter which of these 9 candidates for president on the Republican side is the nominee, because they all support, you know, cutting Social Security, slashing Medicare, ending it in Medicare as we know it, turning it into a voucher program. You won't hear any proposals to create jobs tonight or help the middle class. You will only proposals to return us to the policies that got us into the financial crisis in the first place, that focus exclusively on benefiting the wealthiest, most fortunate Americans. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's baffling for middle-class folks why Republicans wouldn't come to the table like President Obama has repeatedly asked them to, and sit down and work together to get this economy jump-started again. The American Jobs Act would give the economy that shot in the arm. And, you know, Gloria, I think, is right. We will hopefully try to move forward on some components of the jobs proposal that President Obama's put forward. But you won't see anything from Republicans that actually puts people back to work. And it's going to be shockingly frustrating for the next 13 months because they're willing to let the economy stagnate just to get at one job, Barack Obama's, rather than focusing on American jobs.
I'm going to, unfortunately, lose my job if I don't end the conversation here. So we'll have Kevin back to address the Jell-O comment on another night. Gloria as well, Congresswoman, enjoy the debate. We'll check in for your perspective tomorrow. That's all for us tonight, though. Aaron Burnett out front starts right now.